What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another Beta Memoirs. And today was a phenomenal day in the fact that we did have some selling, which is something we haven't seen in a long time. It is September. It is essentially SPX rollovers, which essentially rolling over quarterly contracts could be causing the selling. There is no true intention for the selling other than just basic shifting of money, essentially getting stuff ready for the holiday. Debt ceiling was something that has been talked about quite a bit lately. We have that kind of stuff coming up. We have the Powell. We're going to see if Powell is going to come back. Could be another catalyst. There's a lot going on. Today we actually had the beige book as well. But like I said, with a bunch of the different meetings and stuff from this point forward, they don't really have a big impact. And we saw that with the beige book. The beige book came out at 2 o'clock today, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and it pushed the market up just a little bit. It's not having a dramatic impact. I wasn't expecting it to have a dramatic impact. I don't expect any other real FOMC meeting to have a dramatic impact. The only catalyst I can see is if Powell does not come back. I don't know the specifics as far as the dates on that. I believe it might be this week. But if Powell does not come back and someone else is going to be taking over his role, that could potentially cause a little bit more selling. Sort of interesting to see what happens from that point. But it's good to see selling. We aren't selling off dramatically. Yes, now a lot of your mid caps and smaller caps have been taking a hit. But FANG is strong, and this is why I talk about staying with FANG. It does sell off a little bit, and then essentially as soon as it's hitting support, it is being bought back up quite quickly. So moving forward, you still have to remain cautious as to what could happen. I have not been swinging anything overnight. It's not saying I won't. If I see the potential there, I will. But ultimately, right now, I want to see things come back down. If things would have came down another leg into support 200, and most stocks are like this. Most of the FANG stocks are looking into or right at support on that. If they could get another leg down, I would love that. I would actually be willing to swing into Friday if that's what the case is. If we can get another leg down tomorrow, I'll be definitely looking for that. Even my watch list that I have tomorrow, a lot of them are that looking for that second leg to pop down, take a position. Again, manage risk if it's going to be overnight swing. Typically, I'll go heavier intraday as of right now, as opposed to something I would swing overnight, just because I have no control over what happens overnight. We could gap down or up. But being said, right now, SPX. Again, no true catalyst right now. Just repositioning SPX is ultimately what it is looking like. Nothing major pushing the market down. Just be aware of that. Again, that also doesn't mean just buy the dip, because if it is a true rollover, we could get some really heavy sell pressure from the algos. So that's something to watch out for. But being said, SPX has a nice little pop back. As you can see, though, a lot of stuff is under support, which is not what I like, especially when it comes to the Qs. Don't look too bad. They had a nice bounce. But when you start looking at your Teslas, Tesla actually didn't do too bad today. It popped back over, which is something I was curious about, because it did have no numbers on cars. They crushed it on cars in China, delivery numbers. Being said, we had a little pop, and then we pretty much just sold off only to come back down. So Tesla, I think, is going to start losing some steam, although I don't think it's going to fall very far. I think we'll be lucky. I'll be looking for a 227 entry into this and a tight stop, because I think it might actually reverse there. I don't think Tesla will come down that far. Again, anything is possible, but I don't think it will. Facebook had that pop yesterday, and then kind of just stood still, didn't really do much today. Apple, massive selling. Actually, a bad position is one of the stocks that looks like a bad position. Also, Microsoft was looking at a bad position. It's looking like it's selling back into a bad position again tonight. Google it's had some antitrust issues. It's kind of really traded sideways. I was really waiting for another leg down. This is one I do have on my watch list. I want to kind of look for that 228 mark, 2830 mark. I think Google could be a good entry at that point, good for reversal. If the market does sell, I don't see this selling off too much. Being said, anything is possible. Manage risk. Amazon had a very strong day today, even though it kind of traded sideways. Still held its ground. It's breaking out of this trend line on the daily. So it'd be interesting to see if this continues up. If it does, I'll probably, what I'm thinking is we might get that disconnect like we did. I want to say it was about a month ago, where FANG was running really hard, and then your mid and small caps just started selling off. Again, you started seeing a lot of that. Square, it just sold off. This could be Bitcoin. I don't know how correlated this is to Bitcoin now. I know since they bought some, they haven't bought any more from what I'm aware of. But every time Bitcoin sells off, it tends to want to kind of run with that now, which is something I'm not very fond of. You have different stocks that are like that. You have Coinbase, obviously, and you also have MicroStrategies, which is the same way. Anytime Bitcoin pumps, those two particular stocks will run in sync with what Bitcoin is doing. It seems like Square is kind of falling into that category. It seems like some days it does, some days it doesn't. So just something to be mindful of. Roblox is one I was watching. I wanted it to break further down, looking for that 78 mark, but it is really holding this 82. I've almost taken a position a couple different times on 82. Tomorrow I might actually set a buy at 82 if it does hold that and keep a tight stop. Only trading possible shares on this. And then my options have pretty much been morning scalps, and I've left it at that until the market shows me that I can trust it for longer holds and swings. Another one I got is Snap. Snap is one I have on the daily. Why I like this, I really like to hit that 72 mark. So again, Snap on the daily, I want to see it hold this 20 EMA, so that 74.16 would be ideal. If it does hold that, you could get a nice pop back up to 77. I do like Snap. When I play Snap, I typically will play options. I'll play in the money or at the money, and get those quick scalps on Snap. So that might be something I'm looking at tomorrow. TTD is one I'm looking at. I want to see if it comes down and gets to that 70.26 mark. I'll ultimately be looking for both shares and calls tomorrow if it comes to this. But the biggest thing to remember here, the way I play these EMAs, is you have to understand that these typically these candles won't hit directly on the 200. They'll come very close. So typically what I like to do is go down into lower time frames and try to find zones or support resistance, however you want to do it. I do zones, and I'll look for zones on the daily. Typically, this one lines up perfectly at that mark. So if it can, I try to get as close as I can with this. And sometimes what I'll do also is I'll jump down into the contract I'm looking at if I'm buying calls, and I'll look for support and resistance in that particular contract. And that will give me ideal entries. If I can't depict it here, I kind of give an overview of everything here, and then I'll dive down into the contract when I'm trading options. But I do like TTD. CRM actually looks really good on the daily as well. As long as it can hold this 258, it would be look like, especially from first pop. Might get a good move out of that, especially since it hasn't hit this tested this 20 in a while. So tomorrow, that's something I want to look at to get first bounce grab on that one. Let's see what else I have on my list, and then I also have SC is one of them. I really want this to come down to this 326.87. I was watching this today, but it didn't move a lot. We are close here. It did sell off after hours, so I want to see where this opens up tomorrow. If this is sitting in the zone tomorrow, Possibly even in this one would be ideal. As close as you can get to that daily EMA would be the best. I do have a zone down here at 326. If it did hit that, that'd be ideal. Again, let's see where it is. I do like SC. SC is one I do want to hold for a little bit longer right now. Still trying to fill things out. I want to see how much of selling we're going to get, especially going into September. We got a lot of different announcements coming up again with Powell and the debt ceiling. I want to see what happens with that stuff as well going forward. That being said, Google is also one I do have watched. It's one I kind of been watching, like I said, on and off. And like I said, I want it to come down. And if I can get a second leg down here, ultimately 28.30, if I can get as close to that as possible, to take an entry on that. Again, want to see how the market plays overnight. I want to see if we do selling. My ideal play out would be a sell tonight, a gap overnight, a gap down, and then start running tomorrow, and then possibly even a gap up into Friday. Then possibly do some selling end of day, and then possibly even a down Monday. But that's ultimately what I'm looking for. I do want to see some selling. A lot of stuff is high, and I totally understand why stuff is high, innovation and everything. A lot of stuff that Kathy Woods talks about. So I think it's very much these can go a lot higher than what we're seeing now, but it's ultimately just trying to grab some of this before going into the holiday season, because I think that's going to be a bigger, even massive push from that point. But if you have made it this far, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Till next time, I'll see you guys later.